So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another album review of the Shield Dude on a Couch. And tonight we're reviewing the new album by the Smashing Pumpkins called Aghori Mhori Mei, which apparently means I am dying. And this is an album that we just found out 2 weeks ago. This is the album cover. So yeah, it's a very simple album artwork. And yeah, it's an album that is 10 tracks, 45 minutes in length. And Billy Corgan said on a statement when they were going to release this album 2 weeks ago that this was going to be a more rock-driven record, more in similar to the albums that they did in the 90s. So the question that I ask is, did the band achieve this with this album? I would say, I think so. Yeah, they did. I was actually going to do first, and I was going to do an Is It That Bad episode this weekend for this album, but I listened to it this morning a few times and kept listening to it. I'm like, you know what? I don't feel right doing an Is It That Bad for a record that I truly enjoy. So I messaged the people who are going to be in that episode. I said, you know what? I'm going to do an album review for this without doing the episode. So yeah, so Billy Corgan is back, and on this album, it's as they're focusing more on rocking and being uh like a less is more an approach. I like what the band did here of like announcing an album 2 weeks before and not putting any single and not overhyping them. Because my problem with Smashing Pumpkins the last 10 years is that they have really overhyped some albums, especially when I think Autumn, that came out last year, a rock opera, 33 tracks. And first of all, he called it a rock opera. So when you call an album a rock opera and you say it's a follow-up to Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, my friend, you are asking for trouble. So that album was a huge mess. But my relationship with the Smashing Pumpkins has always been a love and hate relationship. As much as I love Billy Corgan and the band, sometimes they have let me down, but I have been a fan since the 1990s, since the beginning of when I heard Siamese Dream back in 1993. I remember listening to the Sheriff Rock and being like, wow, this is great. And then I went to Gish. And I always kept being a fan. I even enjoy Side Guys that got a lot of shit and Oceania from 2012. But after that, the band kind of lost me a little bit with Monuments to an Elegy. Then they had that album that I can't remember the name, before they did Sir. And then Autumn, which to me was just a big old mess. Too much, too many things. So I like that the band took a stripped down approach to this one and just made it simple. This is a very guitar driven record. And finally, we get to hear Jimmy Chamberlain banging those drums the way it's supposed to sound. Does it sound like the 90s Siamese Dream Melancholy? Not really. To me, this sounds more like the album that should have followed Oceania in 2012. It has more in common with that record and that sound that, their 90s albums. That album, Oceania, for me, was a great record with some great riffings, maybe not as much of a catchiness to their 90s stuff, but very guitar driven and very moody too, because this album is moody as well. And there's some metal elements even on this album. So yeah, it's 10 tracks and, they released nothing from it. So the first track is called Eden, and it's a 6 minute and 46-second song. And when that song, it starts like slower, but at the 30-second part, you get this great crunchy guitar, and you're like, yes, a guitar. And I gotta say, there's no Sims on this record. I'm like, I have nothing against Sims, but come on. You're Smashing Pumpkins. You have James Iha. He's a great guitar player. Use him, please. And Billy Corgan's a great guitar player as well. So Eden is a great track, and it sets the mood for this record. Then you have a song like Pentagrams that I really enjoyed. And you know, the lyrics can be a little bit cheesy here and there with like love never dies. But Billy Corgan sounds pretty good in this record. His voice is always been an acquired taste for many people. But yeah, again, you know, great tracks. And then you have like softer tracks like Pet and Cost. But the most metal track on this record is War Dreams of Itself. And I just imagine when they were trying to record that song, Billy is talking to Jimmy, and he's like, Jimmy, it's time. He's like, time for what, Billy? Time to do the drumming, man. And he's like, yes. And the drumming on that track is insane. I'm like, thank you, Smashing Pumpkins, for putting that track. And it's in the middle of the record, which really picks it up. And it's the most metal record, the metal song, sorry, on this record. Then you go to a song that is more Who Goes There? And that reminds me of more like Adore meets Zeitgeist type of vibe to it. Another track that I thought was really rocking was 999, a longer track, and again, some great guitar riffing on this record that I really enjoyed. Maybe not that classic 90s sound, and I almost felt like, maybe they'll put a little bit of shoegaze in some of these songs, but no, this is a more rock-oriented record. Then you got a song like Ghost Default and Sicaros, a very rocking number. And they end the album with a song that is like more experimental, like Mood Now, which is nothing new because on the Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, they have songs that were experimental, like We Only Come Out at Night. So it has like that theatric type of vibe to it that the Smashing Pumpkins are also known for. So in conclusion, I gotta say, this is a very good surprise by the band. I wasn't expecting to like this album as much as I did. I thought it was gonna be another letdown, but I'm glad that the band have proved me wrong. So I'm going to turn the lights off for this one. Billy, William Patrick Corgan, I want to talk to you. I want to apologize for sometimes losing my faith in you. Sometimes I said things that I didn't mean. I still love you, William, and I have faith in you. I knew you had it in you to put out a record that could rock. Thank you for giving the Sims a little breather. You can use them in the future, but not for a whole fucking album, just sparingly. And yes, if you can, William, please also put Zeitgeist on streaming services because I want to listen to it, please. And if you like the videos that I'm putting out, do not forget to subscribe and do not forget to give me a like. That helps me with the YouTube algorithm to get to more people like yourself. So until next time, people, this is Hector, the Shield Dude on a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and goodbye.